One in Levi. Look at two. Okay, we're on 48A in the Oscrow. The listing that we were saying, we are on 48A2. The listing we're talking about is placing the cotton back into the pillow or the thing, the pillowcase, or the thing that would hold the cotton, the cushion. To making the cushion, we said you can't make a pillow on Shabbat or on Yom Tov. You can't place the stuffing in a mattress or into a pillow on Shabbat or Yom Tov. The last thing the Gemara made it said, but we found you could place. So the Gemara, they allowed you to put back the stuffing. So the Gemara makes a distinction between putting back and placing for the first time. That's the Gemara says, Lokasha b'chata batiki. If it's new, the first time, then you're making the utensil. And you will not be able to put the stuffing in. You got from Amazon the stuffing, put it together yourself, make your own pillow, make your own mat, make your own mattress. You can't do that on Shabbat. But if it's already made and just putting it back that fell out, that you could, because not considered makav patish. It was already completed, and you're just putting back what fell out. The Gemara says, you can't place the stuffing, feathers, cotton into the pillow or the mattress on Yom Tov. You can't do it on Shabbat. But not true. If something fell out, then you can even put it back on Shabbat. And you could definitely put it back on Yom Tov. Okay. Amar Yehuda Marav. Apoteach Beit HaTzavor b'Shabbat. We said earlier that you can't open up. If you open up you can't open up a collar for the first time on the Shabbat, right? Making the collar, making the hole in the garment to place your head through it, like a polo shirt, right? You can't go ahead and make that on Shabbat, right? We said that you could. From the laundryman, we said that they would tie up the shirt with a knot, and that knot we allowed you to take out on Shabbat. We said you're not allowed to, that one of the melachot on Shabbat, you're not allowed to go ahead and untie a knot. But this type of knot is made to be untied, and we said you're allowed to untie it, but you can't open up. We said, right, that's what we said, and we said you can't open for the first time. You can't create this collar, making the hole to for the neck to go through. That you can't go ahead and do. That's what we said. That's what we said. You can't make it for the first place. You can't tear a piece of fabric to open up a collar hole in order that it's used as a garment. That would be making a utensil. That would be the makkah. That's like the final blow. Imagine not a button-down shirt, a polo shirt. How do you get that shirt on you? What's the finishing touch on the shirt? Making that hole, you can put your head through it.
That's the last thing.
What?
That's considered the last.
That's considered the last thing. That makes it usable, right? Because you start off with a piece of garment, a piece of material,
right?
And it seems that's considered like the last.
To cross the line from unusable to usable, whatever the first step is that makes it usable. So, like, let's say
I mean to complete it in a sense. Let's say
that you're not complete because let's say the garment has other steps. Let's say it needs a color job or like some cuts on the bottom, something like that. It's usable once you cut the top. So if you cut the top or the head, but there's still a few more steps.
It's a good point. Right. it still might be considered that as is now you made it into a garment. That's what you're saying. At this point, it is a garment.
Completed into a garment, not completed as a general project.
Right, but is it usable at this stage? Is it, we have to look into this more, but the fact is it's usable now. Now you made it usable. The fact that you plan on coloring it or do other things to it, but as a garment, it's usable now. It's complete as a garment.
So let's say it's CC.
And it's usable.
Right. So let's say it's CC. You don't have the strings attached.
So is it called, did you call completed? But
Yeah.
technically, let's say at nighttime, you should be able to wear it at night. If you just wear it at night, it'll be completed complete.
So it's completed according to its ability to be used, not completed in the theoretic. It's not theoretically completed. Like there's nothing else I want.
Right. That's a good point. These are great questions about Maka. What's called, would it be in violation of that final blow?
Right.
Or because it's some other, like you said, but you plan on putting tzitzit in it, would you say it's not in violation? It's a great question. Do we say the fact that it is usable as is, the fact that I need to do or I want to do other things, but it has use, meaning it has a use. Like I gave you the example that maybe if you put it on at night,
right.
We did say a day garment at night. According to the Rambam, any garment that you wear at night does not need tzitzit. Others say that if it's a day garment, that you would need tzitzit at night.
But the kavanah of completion, yeah, there's I think a better example would be, let's say you cut the top, but you haven't cut the armholes. That's not complete.
Right, so that might not be, that sounds more that it's not complete, because it's not, no one wears it, no one can wear it, no one has the ability to wear it without the hands. But they asked the question, why do we say that it would violate the malach of tearing, right? We say that you can't open the, one of the malachos on Shabbat is korea, make ripping. Like ripping, the case of ripping as a malacha is when you rip, for a constructive purpose. You rip in order to, you want to make a better, you want to stitch a couple of stitches. You rip the garment a little bit more to prepare the job to stitch. That's called the malacha on Shabbat. It's ripping for a purpose. Ripping for not for a purpose, destructively, is not a biblical issue. It's a rabbinic issue of ripping just to destroy something. As we could rip open a package of cups because we're doing it for a purpose. Not, again, the ripping is not accomplishing anything. We're destroying the item, right? The ripping, when you rip open a cup, the rip it just got you into you got the cups out of it, but you're not benefiting from the rip itself. The rip itself is not serving a purpose, right? When you break open, you destroyed the packaging on the cups. When you go ahead and you rip a garment to be able to make a stitch, that rip is enabling you that rip is necessary in order to make that stitch. So you're using the rip is helping you. It's using that would be a problem. But if you just rip something open, that's just destroying with the ripping.
There's like a halacha about packages, right? People talk about a lot. Like the package, when you can rip it, is this coming from the same?
Right. Exactly. Ripping open a package is, let's say, it's not a rip for a construct. The ripping did not do anything for you. You didn't benefit the ripping.
Right, but the rip of a shirt to put your head into, that is a
right.
process.
Or let's say ripping a piece of toilet paper to a certain,
Right.
You're ripping it, and that's giving you the ability to use this toilet paper. Therefore, that should be an issue. That will be an issue. There might be other issues, other problems with ripping toilet paper. Besides the malacha of ripping, but that's the question that they ask. Why, there are those that ask the question. Why did Rashi say that the problem of opening up the collar hole in order that's used as a garment is making into a, finishing a utensil, and makav patish, Why did Rashi state that the problem of ripping open the collar to make the hole for the neck to go, for the head to go through, is a problem of tearing? So that's something that the commentators discuss. Okay, this might be different possible issues that might be by ripping open the collar, making a hole for your head to go through. So now comes the Gemara. Good morning, Simon. So we're on the bottom of Simon Memchet Amar Aleph 48a. If you want to send to the group that were, yeah, sorry, yeah, 48a2. On the 48a2 on the bottom, Simon is back, the right bottom of the page, few lines from the bottom. Amar Yehuda Marav, Hapoteach Beit HaTzavot b'Shabbat. So he says if someone opens up that neck opening in a garment for the first time, and now you're making it usable, right? Simon, let's say you had a polo shirt. How'd you make the polo shirt? Your cousin Isaac, he manufactured the polo shirt, and he took a piece of material and he cut open the center of the material, a place that you could put your head through. When he cuts that opening in the middle, he's making it usable. Now it's usable. Now you can throw it on you. Now you can put on that garment like a cape or something or whatever, whatever they call it, or a polo shirt. That would be a violation of the Shabbat. Maskif lo Rav Kahana. So if Kahana challenged this ruling of Yehuda Marav, now we're on Memchet Amud Beis 48b. Ma benzo lemegufat chavit. How is this different than, let's say you have the Gemara later on, Rashi says it's going on the case that a person could bring a barrel and knock off the top of the barrel with a sword, cut off the top with a sword, and place it in front of the guests. And place the barrel in front of the guests, and I presume they're going to drink some wine. It's a barrel sealed with wine that you want to open the barrel to drink from on the Shabbat. Now, really, the best, you should open it up before Shabbat. But let's say for whatever reason they didn't open it before Shabbat, so you could cut off. The Gemara is going to say the seal. There was or the lid. You had a seal on the barrel. So, or they call it a megufa, is a type of covering. So let's say a cover on the opening of the barrel, and it's attached with like clay, whatever. It's sealed, and as long as the barrel is sealed, it can't be used. Nevertheless, even though when it's sealed, it can't be used. We don't say that when you take off the seal that you're making it into a utensil. So why is it by opening up the neck? What's the difference between opening the neck and opening up the barrel? The neck is sealed, there's no opening. The barrel is sealed, there's no opening. Yet you can open up the barrel, even though it's been sealed, right? The cover has been sealed. And you can't go ahead and open up, make a hole in the shirt. So why is that called that you completed the utensil? You have the barrel when it's sealed with this cover and sealed tight. And like, why isn't that a problem? So Amalei Rava. So Rava says, "Good morning, Asaf. Welcome." So Rava says, we're trying to understand, Asaf. We said that you can't take a shirt, a piece of material, and make a hole in the middle in order to put your head through it, because making that opening is considered you made a utensil. Yet, and that's one of the 39 malachot of the Shabbat, makah patish. And yet you could take a barrel wine that's sealed, with a lid and it's pasted, and you put some cement around it, whatever you call it, around it to keep it plaster around it to keep the lid tight, well attached. And yet you could cut that off. You could cut off that lid on Shabbat. Why is that? When you cut that lid off, why is that called like you made the utensil? Amalei Rava ze chibur v'ze ina chibur. The garment, when Simon, if you take a piece of material and you cut open that material, you make a hole in the center of that material to put your neck through. That garment originally was woven had no opening in the garment. Now, when you go ahead and you cut open that center of that garment and you make a hole, that's something new. You improved this. You made this into a product, a finished product, because now you have you created something on the Shabbat. When you had first a piece of material, let's say woven, but there was nowhere to put your head through. It was a straight piece of material. You couldn't wear it. Now you made the hole. You've created. This is like the final blow that makes it into a usable item. But the lid, the cover on top of the barrel has been made before. The barrel is complete. You made the barrel when you finished it, before you put on the lid, the barrel was complete. It's not part of the barrel itself, that lid. So even if though you attach the lid to it, the lid is made to be removed from the barrel. And it's not, and therefore, the barrel, even when
before you couldn't drink from it, now you can drink from it.
Right.
The garment, you cannot use it, now you can use it.
Right. But the barrel in itself was complete. Meaning to say, it's true. You're right, Simon. I couldn't use the wine from the barrel because of the seal. But the question is, am I making a utensil? Am I making the barrel a barrel? Or I'm giving myself opportunity to use the drink.
The fact that the opening was already existed there before.
Right. The opening was there before. The barrel was already complete. There was an opening. I just covered it. I sealed it. So I just did something to prevent me from using it. But the item was complete. The item didn't need anything more, which might be some of the reasoning for some people that say you can open a bottle on Shabbat. You could take off you have a twist cap. You have a cap on a bottle. It's sealed. Now you go ahead and you turn the cap, right? Or you open up there's a difference of opinion. The Svardim, the Hasidim. So you can open up a bottle on Shabbat. You can open up a bottle of soda on Shabbat. Why? Because the bottle was already made before Shabbat. The bottle was complete. The cap was a cap before Shabbat. Only thing is I did, I put it together. I put the cap, which is a complete item in itself. The cap, you have to see how they make the cap. But I'm saying if the cap is already a cap before it goes onto the bottle, see if the cap will be made from the bottle itself, so then maybe the cap will be considered similar to the garment.
Beer.
Right. So open a bottle of beer. Right. The bottle is complete beforehand. The cap is complete beforehand. It's just sealed.
That doesn't consider melacha?
That's right. We're allowed to open a beer bottle, take a beer opener and take the cap off the beer bottle because the cap was, because everything, good morning, because everything was complete beforehand. The bottle was complete, the beer bottle, the cap was complete. It was just attached on. But you see, based on this, if you take a can of soda or a beer can, and to make that hole in the can, from this Gemara, it would sound like it's a problem. That would be a problem. because the can itself, the opening wasn't there beforehand.
Never had the hole.
Never had the hole.
In the bottle, it's bottle first, then cap.
And then the bottle, then cap. So you have a bottle, and the cap is it was already a cap before you put it on. The bottle was a bottle. If that's how they make the cap, but you can see. But when you open up a beer can, a can of soda, from this it would seem much more problematic. Meaning even if you allow, even if the people that allow to open up a bottle soda, but we could make a case, and we could look into halacha, how they say is that should be worse. I would say, I would tell the people, I would say to be more careful. You know, stay away from cans, opening cans on. I mean, at least based on this Gemara, we have to see what the halacha states. I personally, Moshe Feinstein's opinion is that he even has a problem with using opening bottles with bottle caps. So, but we could see, definitely we could see so far a problem with the cans.
Yeah, with the cans, I don't know much about the manufacturing process, but like the best argument for it is that everything but the top gets made first, and it's basically like a cup, and then they stick the whole top on, just like they do with a bottle cap. But what's different is that you don't drink it by taking off the entire bottle cap. You drink it by puncturing a hole for the first time. So it's like, but it was drinkable before the whole top piece was put on. It would just be, you know what I'm saying? Like just a can without metal on top.
Yeah, but I think that, but I think the can is, I mean, okay, let's understand the can. So the can, they have, they have, they put the soda, right, they have the soda, they filled it up. How did they fill it up? They filled it up with there was the hole there, or the whole thing with the whole top.
I'm assuming the entire top was open. I don't know, but that's what I'm assuming. Like,
To see how they make it. Right, so here's, right, but here the difference is, it's the hole is happening in the hole. Once it's sealed, the seal now the whole now it's not a separate, it's not a seal on top of the thing.
right.
It's a seal. The seal it's using the actual can is sealed with itself.
Right. It's like if you were to open the can by popping off the entire top piece, then it would look more like a bottle. But the fact that you puncture it through it doesn't, you don't take it off the same way it comes on.
Right. So maybe that would change that would be the question. Maybe it changes the situation. Um, um, so that should be a case why maybe people should be more careful about those things. But we have to look more what the, you know, what different opinion, what is stated on that. Now, now, Romile Rav Yirmiyah Rav Zera. Rav Yirmiyah asked Rav Zera the following question. Now, see, good morning, Nathan. Nathan, we just said something very interesting in the Gemara. We were speaking about just that, not just Nathan, not have this beautiful idea. We're talking about if a guy has a barrel of wine, and he did not open it before Shabbat. He didn't open the barrel, and it's sealed. It has, let's say, they put a lid on top of it, and they plastered it. And on Shabbat, it says you could open up, you could knock off that lid on Shabbat, and it's not called making a utensil.
Because it was intended to be open.
It's intended to be open, and number one, and it's also someone explained that the item is complete. The barrel is complete. They're not making the barrel. The barrel is complete. You just close the barrel. But if you take a garment, that piece of material, and you cut you make a cut on Shabbat in the center to want to place your neck through it, that completes the garment. So that was the discussion here, and then we were starting to talk about soda bottles. That the bottle is complete before the cap seems to be complete. Just now, you just sealed it on. That could be the reasoning why so many allow opening up a bottle on Shabbat. Even Moshe Feinstein has, he holds that it's a problem opening soda bottles on Shabbat. Rami Le Rav Yirmiyah Rav Zera. Rav Yirmiyah asked Rav Zera the following question. We are on 48b1. Rami Le Rav Yirmiyah Rav Zera. Tanan. We learned in the Mishnah. Shalal Shakofsid. You know, the laundryman was very common to stitch the larger clothing. Morning, Jack. Welcome back. The larger clothing with the smaller size clothing together, because he didn't want the small clothing to get lost in the washing, right? So he would, let's say wherever they would wash, they wash in the lake, or wherever they would wash the clothing. So they would put a couple of stitches together.
By this argument, since both of them were complete to begin with, on Shabbat you might be able to separate the two because they were both complete to begin with.
Say it again. The garment. Okay, so let's.
Before, you might be allowed to unstitch them on Shabbat because they were both complete to begin with.
Okay, so let's see what the Gemara is going to say. So the Mishnah states, these garments that were stitched together, or if you have a number of keys that are tied together in a chain, let's say you have a garment, two pieces of wool, that you stitch the two pieces of wool with a linen stitch. So if you stitch the wool with a linen stitch, so the linen and the wool, that makes the client. That makes it's forbidden for you to wear. Now, even though, chibur l'tuma, if one of these garments become tameh, that means, let's say the dead sheretz, the dead mouse, touched one of the garments that are stitched to the other garment, right? Or one of the keys become touched by let's say the dead sheretz. We say, even though it only touched one garment, let's say, but all the garments become tameh, because since they're attached together with the stitch, right? So we look at it as a one item, right? Just like if the dead sheretz touches the chair, we don't say, okay, it's a difference between the leg of the chair and the top of the chair. It's one chair, it's one entity.
It's very literal.
Say it again?
It's very like it's physical contact. There's no theory behind it.
Right, it's physical contact that it's one item. But so if they're attached through this thread, that makes it, we view it as one. Right? That's what we're saying now. However, now these items you plan on taking apart, right? Because the garment that's made out of, the laundryman put only the two things together because he doesn't want it to get lost in the shuffle, in the washing, or the klayim, the two wool garments that were stitched with the linen stitch. You plan on taking it apart. It's made to take apart, just like the barrel, right? Now, nevertheless, when they attach together, as long as they are together, right, they're considered one. Until you start beginning to untie the let's say the chain of keys. You started untying the chain of keys, or you started untying the stitches, and then even though you did not finish untying them yet, they're still attached together. Then at that point, the garments, the keys are considered separate. And if one key becomes contaminated, the other keys don't become contaminated.
So you got 5 keys. You separate number 1 from number 2.
You're starting to separate.
You haven't even separated 1 from 2. You
Right.
Begun to untie them.
And then the
And
sheriff,
hits number 3. Only number 3 is liable, not 1, 2, 4, 5.
right. Now, even if Sheretz touches number 3 and number 3 is touching number 4 and number 2,
they are in the process of being untangled.
Right. But I want to explain the law is okay, Rabbi, you're right. Maybe we'll consider them separate, but so that we don't consider when the Sheretz touches 3 that it touched 4 and 2, but 3 is touching 4 and 2. So why doesn't 4 and 2 become contaminated because 3 is touching them? So the answer to that question is that a utensil or a person can only receive contamination from a high level, from the from a source of contamination. Something that they've reshown a first generation, that means not the original source, cannot contaminate a person or utensil. So therefore the sheretz, the dead mouse, is, let's say, is the source. It can make the key number 3 contaminated, but key number 3 doesn't have a power to contaminate another key. It could contaminate food.
Example, all 5 were.
Say it again.
In the previous example, before you started untying them, all 5 of them were linked
To
in a direct fashion.
Exactly. They're like one. Exactly. Now, so what do we see? The Gemara says, Alma shelo b'shat malacha. When it's not during the time of the malacha. So Rashi says, Shalom B'Shat Malacha could go like the laundry. Let's focus on the laundry story, the garments of laundry. You only needed to put it together because of the time when you're going to be doing the laundry. That's why you put it together for a specific temporary time, like the barrel and the seal for a temporary time. You only sealed it because you wanted to keep it fresh or whatever it was. But nevertheless, it's still called chibur after the laundry guy finished doing the laundry, and he had the large garments attached to the tied together, stitched together with the small garments, and now there's no longer he's not using it anymore for his purpose. It's not yet. It's still considered attached. So if that's the case, Uraminu, now here, and I'll show you a contradiction. Uraminu, I have a contradiction. So you're telling me, meaning to say the Gemara seems to be admitting while the laundry guy is washing them together, while he's in the process,
The purpose has completed.
Right. But then you could say it's like one because I need them together. But once the purpose is completed, it still says they're considered attached together. As long as you didn't start untying it, they're considered one entity. Or a minnow, I have a contradiction. Makel she'aso yad lekardon. You attach to let's say an axe. You attached to the metal part of the axe, you attach a handle temporarily. It's a handle that's there only, but it's a type of handle that you don't plan on leaving there. Usually, when we make an axe, it's if you took this piece of wood and you made it like a temporary handle. We say it's a chibur l'tumah b'shat melacha. It's only considered attached during the work. Now, what's the story with the makel? The makel is a flat piece of wood that you stuck into this axe. A flat piece of wood does not receive contamination. Flat wood has to have be able to hold something, has to have a container in order for wood. Metal, even flat, can receive contamination. Now, but since it's attached to the axe, it's like considered a part of the axe, and therefore it would receive contamination like the axe itself. Now, even though it's only a handle, we learn out in the Gemara and Chulin that the handle has a status of the utensil itself, just like the utensil. So now, but when you're using this hammer, when you have use for this hammer, b'shat malacha, but then it will be considered one. But b'shat malacha in shelo b'shat malacha. But let's say I finished using this axe. I finished. I needed to chop down some wood. I finished, but I didn't take and I plan on taking the handle out, but I didn't take the handle out yet. So we say it's not considered like one. So we see that the only time it's considered attached only during the time that you're using it. And
So
that
this is trying to argue that once the laundry is done, you don't have to wait to start on time.
right. Correct. So that's the Gemara's question, that why do you need to go once the laundry is done, you finish washing both garments, the large and the small, that were attached together. Why do we say the only thing that's going to make them not attached is the starting only when you started on time, even if you didn't start on time? The fact that the purpose of why they were temporarily attached, and now you finished the purpose of the attachment because you're not washing it anymore. So why is it considered attached? Amalei. So if Zera says to Rav Yirmiyah, Hatan by the stick, that's the handle for the axe, Shalo b'shat malacha, when it's not during the time of the work, after you finish the work, Adam asu zoka ben eitzim. It's common that a person will throw the throw it between the wood. So Zoka Rashi says he'll throw the stick, and he'll separate it. It's very common that he'll go ahead and he'll separate it, and he has no use for it, and therefore the once he finishes the work, it's not considered attached anymore. Of a halcha, but here the laundry guy, even when he finishes doing washing it, he still has use. He appreciates it being attached together. He also wants it together. Or he says, because if the garments become dirty somehow again, he's able to go ahead and wash it together as attached. So therefore, he wouldn't have to re-stitch it. So therefore, that's why they're still considered attached. He also likes it, because if it gets dirty, then he'll wash it again. And therefore, that's why it's still considered attached. We'll see tomorrow elaborate more about on that point. Have a great day, everybody.